Hello, 1 second. Got to get my map out. I need a tube map and I need a London Rail and Services tube map. I'm in Zone 4 in North London. I'm at Oakley Park. I've bounced back and forwards this morning around London and then between New Barnet Zone 5 and Oakley Park a couple of times to make sure that I've hit the Zone 5 cap, because I'm heading for Brooklands Park, which at the moment is London's only station where you can't use Oyster, but you can use contactless. So my train is coming in the distance. They're all the brand new Class 717s, shiny new along this line now. I actually started my day in central London at Moorgate, and I tapped in there, and I've done a lot of tapping in and out, up and down the line, on a contactless card on purpose to very specifically cap at Zone 5. I've also just now here at Oakley Park tapped in with an Oyster on purpose, because when I get to Brooklands Park I'm going to see what happens with both. Let's get on the train and I'll explain more.
This station is Oakley Park.
Okay, so this video pertains to a station where you can use contactless but not Oyster in London, and more are coming. And it also pertains to Cross Elizabeth Perp train. Stick around towards the end of the video for that. In the meantime, I've grabbed myself the latest copy of this, the London Rail and Tube Services map, which is dated May 2019, but the one online, link in the description, is more up to date because that has a special symbol next to Brooklands Park station. But before we get into that, I need to explain just how many zones there are on Oyster in London. You might be forgiven for thinking that there's 6, zones 1 to 6. You might even know there's actually 9 zones. Zones 1 to 9 is a common thing, but actually there's 15. Here's how.
All London Underground stations fall within zones 1 to 9, but there are stations that have been added to the system since beyond London and outside of these zones. Watford Junction is in zone 10, and the fares for that are also used for Purfleet Grays, Chatham Hundred and Ockenden. Then there's Zone 11, initially used for the stations between Broxbourne and Hertford East, but recently Hertford North and Bayford were also added to this zone. Cuffley was put into Zone 9 at the same time. Then at the end of August 2019, Radlett on Thameslink was added to Zone 11, and Potters Bar, on the line I'm on today, was also added to Zone 11. Zone 12 is just Shenfield by itself, all the way out east on TfL Rail. Zones 13 and 14 are there to bring Oyster to Gatwick Airport. Gatwick is in Zone 14 by itself, and then the stations between Merstham and Hawley are in Zone 13. That left Zone 15 free, which had been reserved for Crossrail's Elizabeth line, but TfL have now said that that's not happening.
So what's happened is that stations around the edge of London that don't quite fall into the Zone 6 or the Zone 9 areas that want to be part of the Oyster contactless scheme, because it's just easier to like tap and go, they've got to the point now where they've run out. As you've seen in that diagram just there are no more Oyster zones, only 4 bits, they can only have 15. In the meantime though, what's happened is that Brooklands Park, if you look at this map online, it doesn't actually show it in this paper version, the online version, I'll throw it up on screen now, has got a little contactless symbol next to it. What this means is that you can use Brooklands Park for contactless, i.e. bank cards, to tap in and out on an Oyster style pad, but not an actual Oyster card. So does this mean that you could end up with the example where people might think, because they see the Oyster pad, you can tap in and out with an Oyster card? That is why today I have specifically capped at Zone 5 on a contactless card, and then I'm going to travel to Brooklands Park. But when I get there, I've also tapped in just now at Oakley Park on an Oyster card, and I want to see what error message it gives me when I try and tap out at Brooklands Park. Point to note, on the in-carriage map up here, on the new 717s, the Oyster and contactless yellow shaded zone only goes as far as Hadley Wood, which is wrong because you can already use Oyster to Potters Bar, and now you can use contactless and contactless only to Brooklands Park. However, on the platforms of some of the Great Northern stations I've seen this morning, it says our network or network map, they have added Brooklands Park in a slightly different colour of shading to indicate that it's a contactless only station, but not Oyster. Are you confused yet?
We will shortly be arriving at Brooklands Park.
I'm like the only person to have got off. I have actually been here once before, many years ago, to to go geocaching, and I bought a paper ticket. But it's on that strange stretch of line where obviously you're on the East Coast Main Line and fast LNER trains are like whizzing through the middle, and then Great Northern run their stoppers up the outside. Hello, Brookmans Park. So I can see already as I approach that there's no barriers, they're just oyster validators. I'm interested in knowing, are the validators a different colour? Have they got any publicity or stickers on them, or are there any posters saying this is contactless only but not oyster? Let's find out. Alright, this is vaguely exciting. The oyster validators, tap to travel. It's a standard yellow pad, but it's surrounded by orange. I've not seen that before, so it's like an orange wrapped oyster validator. Contactless users and smart cards users must touch it and out. Oyster cards are not valid at this station. There's an Oyster card with a line through it, but then there's a very big sticker showing, including the Key Smart card, and then bank cards, that contactless cards are allowed here. Also, there's a poster down there saying that Freedom Passes, so if you've got a London over 60 Freedom Pass, not valid at this station. So it's weird seeing an Oyster pad, but knowing an Oyster card isn't valid. So I'm going to touch out with my contactless. I want to see how much I got up to boundary zone 5. I was capped at zone 5, so I'll see how much a fare is from zone 5 to here, and then I'll touch out with the Oyster and see what error message it gives me. So the bright sun is with us. This is me tapping out. I've got a contactless card in here. I'm going to tap out with that. Card accepted. I will check on the Oyster app in a minute what my balance is. What I really want to do is, I touched in at Oakley Park with this Oyster card, so I want to touch out now. I'm getting a Seek Assistance 75 error. There's an app on the App Store which me and my friend Matt wrote called Oyster Errors. I'll put a link in the description. You scroll to the number and it tells you what all the Oyster errors mean. Error 75 is Oyster card not supported, which is what you would expect. There's a poster here saying you can use contactless. Doesn't say you can't use Oyster, and does also correctly mention the fact that it will be extended further north up to Hatfield and Welwyn Garden City later this year. Over here on the ticket office window, it mentions this started back on the 29th of August, by the way. You can use contactless. It says most returns fares will be the same as paper tickets. Which I kind of, is this worth going into now? It's worth checking. If you're at so Epsom and Gatwick and Hertford East, all those places which take Oyster and contactless outside of zone 9, it's worth checking. I'm not going to say for definite it's always cheaper, but especially at the weekend, I would check to see if a paper ticket is cheaper than Oyster and contactless. In all cases, check. Or try it out, buy a paper ticket one day, tap in one day and see which is cheaper. Okay, you have to wait a few minutes on the Oyster app for the data to trickle down. So as I wait for my train back south, let's just get centred, there we go. Always centre yourself. Something disappointing to report. I'll do a cutaway screenshot. It's reported I'd capped at £12, which is the zone for being text. That's my friend Mike, who I'll mention in a minute, that I'm chatting with about this, because he's pointed out to me that I'd capped at £12, which is the Zone 5 cap. So surely, going to Brookmans Park from New Barnet, it should have only charged me the New Barnet Zone 5 to Brookmans Park extension. Instead, it's charged me the full £3.20 from Oakley Park to Brookmans Park. So that's more than I would expect. So, hi. If you're watching and you're the person that sets the fares, why is it charging me £3.20? Oh, by the way, if you're the person that makes this on the map, can you see how, and this is what you see, by the way, when you download the latest map from the website, because it's not in paper form yet, can you see how the contactless symbol, to me it's slightly in the wrong place, it needs to move, hang on, if we all stare at it very hard, there we go, it just needs to move like that to be aligned perfectly. If you could fix that as well, that would be great. We'll get back on the train and on the way back into London, my camera will fall over and we'll discuss why this is relevant, it's all wonky now, to the tube map and Crossrail.
This station is Brooklands Park.
Okay, coming back down the line, do need to discuss why this is pertinent to the tube map, and that's because TfL put out a press release last week, again I will link to it below, saying that for the first time ever on the tube map, I think this is a first since Oyster was introduced in 2003, there were going to be contactless only and non-Oyster stations marked on the tube map, because in December this year, 2019, TfL Rail purple trains should, I mean, why wouldn't you put it on the tube map, TfL? Should be on the tube map because they're taking over the services from GWR, and you can get purple trains, the 9-car, class 3, 4, 5, Cross, Eliz, Perp trains from Paddington all the way out to Reading. Reading is going to be on the tube map, pocket map, unless it isn't, we'll get to that in a second. But they've announced in their press release that they thought that we were saving zone 15 in those 15 zones, in the 4-bit restricted 15 zones, for use to Reading, but that's not the case. Instead they've said that stations past West Drayton heading west, you will only, like Brooklands Park, only be able to use contactless and not Oyster. I think that's a big thing. I think that's the first thing, because it will mean for the first time in its history since 2003 there will be stations on the tube map where you can't use Oyster. How will they show that? Will they not show it at all? Will it be like a special zone like the tram fare zones? Will it have little black or red coloured daggers referring to the key, or will it be like a big flashing thing? Will there be signs up at stations? I've got a photo, I already saw a sign at Ealing Broadway station last week where it says that already, because it's already true, but the point is it's gonna be on the tube map. TfL Rail, what will become Cross, Eliz, Perp trains, Crossrail, will be on the tube map in future years to come, but yet you can't use Oyster to them. That's a big thing. We remain to see what happens, because we don't know. So the December 2019 tube map will be quite a thing, unless of course this is the year where they ditch the tube map and they have a larger size map that shows what is oysterable and what is contactless-able only. Interesting times to come. Discuss all this in the comments below.